The presentation today is about one of the most important, challenging, difficult, and mediatic, if you wish, topics in the United States and in the world, which is the topic of global warming. Because of the implications that this has more generally to the global environment and sustainable development, I chose the title and I chose a presentation centered on the global warming issue. The signals for global warming is what I'm going to start presenting to you initially, on the grounds that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and maybe more than 1,000 words. I want you to understand how important this topic is, not just to all of us here, but our descendants, for the survival of the entire human species for centuries to come. It's a concept that is particularly well understood in a country like Greece, with thousands and thousands of years of history, and perhaps lesser in the Americans, which are, the culture in the United States is, relatively known. In Antarctica, which is the southern cone of the top, the glaciers and the ice sheets are melting. In Alaska, the permafrost is melting. The permafrost is the frozen soil where the cities are built in Alaska. As the permafrost melts, entire towns are sinking into the water today in Alaska, and people are being mobilized and moved away. This is just a picture of the melting ice sheets in Alaska. And you can see the receding ice as well. And the challenges to the human settlements. Greenland, which is near Alaska, so to say, also shows breakage in the ice. And in Antarctica, I was recently there, you can see the glaciers melting. Now you may say, well, the glaciers melting, but there are two issues about the glaciers melting. First of all, a lot of people in the world drink water from glaciers. And this includes people in Europe, particularly in Switzerland, but also in the southern cone in Chile and Argentina. But the glaciers are also important because their stability is the stability of the sea level. So when they melt and they become melted water, which increases in volume, the sea level is rising. Why is that of importance? Because of beautiful countries such as Greece and very large countries such as Bangladesh have very large segments of the population at the sea level in the coasts. And as the sea rises, particularly those whose income is not very high are going to find themselves underwater. Bangladesh by itself will disappear. After Alaska, which is right now falling underwater, Florida in the United States is the next site, and in Greece the areas around the coasts are going to be challenged. This is very, very serious, as you can imagine. This is another picture about the impact of melting ice sheets. Polar species are finding themselves in completely different conditions, and as you know, the polar bears are now a very threatened species that may not be here in the next 20 years. These are mountains that were covered with ice and water that was used by the towns, no longer available. I was recently in Antarctica where you could see the ice dissipating into water. In Patagonia, the same thing, and this means increasing the level of the sea all over the world. The ice sheet in Greenland is really the biggest gorilla in the whole exercise, because if the ice sheet in Greenland becomes water, then it's going to have a catastrophic event where the sea level will rise 1 or 2 meters. Just think about what it will do to the coastal area with your own European country. Now, the other side of the question is all about water. deforestation that is partly driving global warming, we will not go there, but partly created a global warming, because global warming means desertification, and it establishes the conditions for the type of fires, the tragic fires that you have in the West recently, that meant the death of 60 people and million acres affected and thousands of families are going to disappear. Outbreaks of malaria are predicted because as the temperature changes, the vector illnesses that are like malaria go to new areas, become more widespread in areas that were not exposed before. And the issue is that all of this that we are experiencing is driven by industrial growth. I put here a picture about China's industrial growth because China, with a 10% increase in the GDP per year for the last 10-15 years, is actually just a late comer and not the most important contributor at all in this dilemma. The real reason global warming is here today is the success of globalization and industrialization, particularly since the Second World War, after the Bretton Woods institutions were created. Industrialization has led to tremendous use of energy, and 89% of all the energy we use in the planet is fossil fuel, coal, natural gas, and petrol. 89%, just about all of it. Why does that matter? Because in the burning of fossil fuels, we emit carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide coats, as it burns, the planet with a blanket that keeps the heat, and this is the cause of global warming. So we are in the perverse situation where we need more growth for a lot of people who are in levels close to poverty or beyond poverty levels in Asia, Latin America, and in Africa. And yet, the energy that we need is 89%, 90% of the energy that we use today is fossil fuel, and therefore creates carbon dioxide. It's being between a rock and a hard place. China, right now, because of its industrial demands, is building one coal plant per week. And the world as a whole is building 2 coal plants. These are power plants that produce electricity per week. Among other things, we're changing the composition of the sea. Anybody here has a sea-loving history? The sea is actually the basis of life as we know it on the planet. And the corals in the world are disappearing because one of the implications of carbon dioxide is that they get absorbed and may change the pH chemical level of the sea that becomes much more acidic. As it becomes more acidic, corals, which are basic, are being eaten up and disappear. The desertification produced by the changing temperature is changed the composition of 25% of China's landmass already. Australia has recently had the longest drought in record. In the Arctic Sea, the summer ice is no longer there. In Switzerland, you basically cannot. Last year, you just couldn't ski. The foundation for water is not there. You have soil erosion and storm surges in Alaska, and leading to the attempt, in ways that we're going to discuss next, to replace our fossil fuel infrastructure, the way we produce energy, by what means that don't use fossil fuels but still produce electricity, such as wind farms. This is one example. We're going to talk about that. This is a solar farm in Spain. And I want to mention to you, and I will in a few minutes, that solar energy is the biggest hope that we have for being able to provide energy to the planet, and the world needs energy. We really need energy to provide it in a way that doesn't produce carbon emissions and destroys our environment. The Colorado River is essentially dried up. It used to run from the United States to Mexico. By the time it gets to Mexico, it's not there. All of California is essentially being fed by the Colorado River. This is how it looks, the basin of the Colorado River, one of the mightiest rivers in the United States, and the reason why the United States can provide agriculture so efficiently is because of the water from this mighty river. This is how it looks now. In Colorado, the farmers are being told to turn off farm water. This is the record law in Lake Mead that provides water to all of Las Vegas. You can see the situation. You can see the Colorado River dwindling before it goes dry. You can see the arid areas that were generated by this process. At the same time that industrial growth continues and Las Vegas' new construction site doubling the requirement for water. And you can see here how recent droughts years across much of the west of the United States have fueled wildfires like this one in April 2006, which were in Colorado, but have a tragic resemblance to what happened in Greece recently. Indeed, that's the consequence from drought, the creation of larger and more dangerous and widespread fires. The ecosystems in the world are being challenged because the change in temperature means that species cannot survive what they used to survive before, the water that they require disappears, and therefore the vegetation disappears, and this is just an example of endangered species. That's the most important item to know. Sea mammals. In this particular example is some beautiful birds that have disappeared in the fastest rate of all other animals, including the bald eagle, the representative of the United States, is endangered and is going to disappear, and including prehistoric animals such as the alligators, particularly sea life, because of the reason that we mentioned before, and these are examples of corals that are simply disappearing. In fact, if you look at the history of our planet, we are now in the midst of the 6th largest disappearance of species in the planet since the planet was created. This is how serious the situation is. There were other 5 events. This is number 6. And there is a difference with this event of extinction. It's called mass extinction. Others were produced by meteorites that hit the Earth, like when the dinosaurs were extinct. It was through the hitting of a 16-kilometer meteorite that created the dust particle of the Earth. All of the mass extinctions in planet Earth were caused by big changes in climatic situations. We are now in the 6th most important mass extinction. But there is a difference in this mass extinction. The difference is being caused by us, by humans. We're doing this. So let me tell you what, after giving you these pictures, let me tell you what I view as a solution. And before I go any further, I want to tell you that in a particular way that I want to explain, I am very optimistic about the future. Perhaps this optimism is based on a belief or some form of rationality, but there is other reasons I'm optimistic for. So I want to tell you how difficult the situation is and why I'm optimistic right now. I must be one of the very few people around who are optimistic. But don't forget, I've been working at this for 25 years. The first thing I did before I did a PhD in economics, as Professor Koulikovou mentioned, was to join the Fundación Bariloche in in Patagonia, Argentina, and create a concept of basic needs to answer the model that was then developed in MIT called basic law, to explain why developing countries could develop without putting an end to the war of resources. That was the thesis of the limits to grow argument, sometime in the 70s. And I was determined to prove that developing countries could grow. And we developed a biological model, and within that, a to focus economic development on the satisfaction of basic needs, which is key in a developing country. And it's totally different than the concept of economic development based on measuring GDP. This concept of basic needs in 1992 became the cornerstone of the definition of sustainable development in the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. So I feel very proud for having been there so many years ago, fighting against the tide for basic needs, for the environment, and realizing that every single piece of natural resource exported from Africa, exported from Latin America, was not just contributing to underdevelopment, so it was just wrong, but it was also contributing to the destruction of